this material nature that is eightfolded. Beside five elements, there are three other matters that are included in it. This is the intellect, mind, and the ego. Three things are inherited in the soul. Due to the mind-ridden soul, it comes again and again into the world. So these things are inherited in it. Without these things, it cannot come into this world. We are conscious entity, and without mind, one cannot come in. And now, this, due to the intellect, mind, and the ego, they are the negative forces in the man body. The positive power is only the soul, the spirit in the body. Now this body is a play field of negative and positive power both. Rather, they are the impelling forces in this world. This world is also a play field of negative and positive power. They are the impelling forces, and they have their destination fully fixed. Now, there is the work of the master power, Christ power, God power, and there is also the work of the negative power. First of all, we have to know who is our master, who is related to us. In Holy Scripture it is said, there is none in million, maybe one in billion. And who is the power? Who is our master? Only the Christ power, God power, master power is our master. Who has manifested the whole creation, sustains it, and that also sustains in the holy body. And we have direct and independent contact with that power. He is the master, he is the doer. So all human beings have one and the same master, that is the Christ power, master power, God power. And there are 100,000 other masters. Master tell us, competent masters tell us, who worked for that doer. They were the borrowed servant of that God power. They were never doer, and they will never come doer. Those who are commissioned to work here, they would never claim that they are the masters. If they one time say, their contact will be broken at once. So doer is the God power, master power, the Christ power. We are the children of that power, and we are all class fellow. We are all reading in one class. Our subject is one and the same. So we have to know what we have to get from him. And as I told you, there are 100,000 so-called masters. They are attached with certain religion. They have created their own ism and sect. Whereas the master power comes from all human beings. If one is located to certain division, what he will do for others who do not believe in that ism or sect? So this teaching is very liberal, very universal, and it is taught, and it is for one. Our master is one. This Christ power, master power, God power. And now we have to discuss what they are giving and what he is giving. Those 100,000 so-called masters, directly or indirectly, they are working for the negative power. And they work only up to that very stage till the child doesn't have the right understanding that is innate in the soul, and he remains devoid of this right understanding. So, so-called master in the world, they have baffled the whole humanity. Their purpose is to keep all innocent children in their fold. Now if you know what they got and what is the reserved right of the child, and that is inherited in the soul, it is our heritage. And if we go back to our Holy Scripture, these experiences are there. And their experience which is written in the Holy Scripture, that should become our experience. If it is the same, then it is the Christ teaching, Master teaching, God teaching. So I tell you, who is the Christ power? Christ lived before Jesus. Christ is the power who has created the whole creation. And now we have the direct and independent contact with that power. So our approach should also be direct and independent. So for this purpose, now it is very delicate subject. If you understand it right over here, you will never be misled. I guarantee it. This is your subject and only you can learn it. Nobody else can learn for you. No priest can help you in this matter. You must become priest of your own self. You must become the teacher of your own self. This is what told by the Christ, told by all competent master of the world. Our spirit in the body is located at the seat. Here is the seat of the soul. When man dies, he transcends from the lower extremity and transcend all the chakras. The spirit, the soul comes here at the root of the two eyes. And from here it takes upward trend and then it takes inward trend. So you have seen many persons dying. Everyone has to leave his body when the soul transcends from the body consciousness and comes over here. It is very dreadful scene. It is beyond expression when the soul comes over here. And now when it comes here, it is said, here is the third eye. This third eye is the expression of the God power. God power lives in it. Now what is the third eye? When we shut our eyes, we experience something here, that thing which is this experience, either darkness, that is the third eye. Now our whole subject will circulate here. If you know that very secret over here, then no problem. Here is the soul, just little below there is the mind and below there is the intellect. And the function of the soul is different than that of the intellect and the mind. Mind intellect takes us into the body, whereas the soul wants to take us above. You see, mind and intellect is a matter. Just take one little piece of earth, throw it in the air. It will come back on the earth because the source is earth. So you may try to solve your problem with mind. You cannot solve it because mind itself is the problem. We are the same sense as that of God. To way back to God is light and sound principle taught by the Christ. You lit a candle, you make it up and down, its flame will go up because the source is the sun, source is the light, it will go up. So our purpose is to go up from here, not to transcend below. Now when God sent the child in this world, He created many planes. It is said there are 4 coverings on the soul. When we look over here, it is all darkness. Sometimes people see some experience, see some light. That is the power that is taken from the soul and that is due to the mind. It is mind itself. Mind gets power from the soul and uses the same power against the soul. That is ignorance. Now what happens? When God created the man and there was nothing in the world. There was no God and God says there was no avatara, there was no hell, there was no heaven. Nothing was there. When there was no sin, there was no prison. Prison came into being only when the man created the sin and he made this prison for himself. All those forces now came for the want of man, came for the service of man. Now what happens? Let us discuss those people who go the negative experience. You know, this astral region is very close to the earth. Where the attraction of the earth ends, from there the astral region start. And those powers living, residing in the astral plane, they are all negative. There are the god and goddesses, there are the avatars, there are other forces which meditated and they are playing their role therein. And there is the hell and there is the heaven. And our Father does not live in that heaven which exists in the astral plane. It is created by the negative power. And what is there? There is excessive light. And light without sound is stationary. The music of the sphere in the body is our master. Word is our master. So once the soul goes in there, it cannot come out of it. It has to live in the tentacles of the negative power once for all. So people meditate over here and stress over here. What happens? This mind take them into the chakra and bring them into the astral plane. Mind at astral plane is open for everybody. Everybody is welcome there. One may try within few days, he can reach there. It is said a master is sitting there and a disciple is sitting there. Disciple was more receptive than the master, he could go very easily. If you have to go to the astral plane, then you don't need a master. Then you don't need a guide. Because it is a gross ignorance, there is a gross illusion that exists in the astral plane. Now further I will tell you what happens there and how they create their work in the world and how people are affected with this work. The whole world is led astray with this knowledge. This meditation has become a breakfast for everybody. We have to discuss now this thing very minutely, very attentively. We feel at home. If you know that, then you will never be misled. As Christ told, where the world philosophy ends, there the religion start. And where this world philosophy ends? When you transcend the astral plane, causal plane, super causal plane, then you reach into the conscious stage and then your soul will be fully naked and you will experience your Father there. There you are given the bread of life and water of life. And not in the astral region. Astral region is totally governed by the negative power. Now our soul is engulfed in four cloth. There is a astral covering, there is a causal, there is a super causal, there is a physical. These are the coverings. And we cannot get rid of, so far we do not get rid of this covering, we cannot realize ourselves and realize God within. Just for example, there is a bulb, there are four coverings, and there is darkness outside. You take off one covering, and little streaks of light will come out of it. You take the second covering, more streak of light will come out. You take off the third one, more light will come out of. When you take all the four, there will be the effulgent light coming out of this bulb. You will see it is a bulb, it is a light there. So this astral plane, causal plane, super causal plane, these are the barriers we have to cross one after another. And when you cross all those barriers, beside this, beyond this, there is the house of our Father. There is the heaven. And which is that heaven? Where the light is without the sun. There it rains without the clouds. Nothing can be said about this. There we get the eternal life. Now we have to discuss this very important, how we are deluded in this world. And what is there in the astral? There is the super magic things. There is the black magic. There is the spiritual healing. This is the outcome of the negative forces. Their purpose is only to fulfill your wishes and you be happy with them. And this is not spirituality. That is not the end of life, neither the beginning of life. Black magic, spiritual healing, these are the miraculous powers of the negative power, with which it fulfills our wishes. You know, those powers are already working above. And what happens? You have any wish, they come. Think of the devil and he is there. You have a wish, they come to fulfill that wish. What happens? You say, my son is suffering. Some person, okay, he will be fully right. There are the miraculous powers. When you enter into the astral plane, these miraculous powers are scattered like flower on the ground. You even do not pick up, you only look at them and they will attract you. These miraculous power will come in you. This is the one way negative power is taking the work from 100,000 people in the world. They are all misguided. You know, you create a wish and those powers are already there, working there everywhere. And like you cook a very good food in your house, your neighbor can smell it. Similarly, the wish created by a underdeveloped soul in the world, that can be influenced by these miraculous powers, and they are caught. Suppose your godson right, fully right, with this miraculous power. He gave you some healing touch. What will be the condition of your child? It is just like that you are owed to some money to the bank. You cannot pay. You go to the bank authority and tell, sir, I cannot pay the money. He say, okay, I will not ask you for 1 year, but be careful, mind it, that you have to pay with compound interest after 1 year. So your son has to suffer for all the time. He cannot get rid of it. So this miraculous things, black magic, they are the creation from the negative power, from the astral plane, to keep the man in its fold and put it either into the astral hell or the astral heaven. If you do good work, you can be put into the heaven that is lying in the astral plane. These avatara, they also live in the astral plane. But they have only two places, either hell or heaven. Whatever possibility is there in this world, much more possibility to identify into the astral plane is there. The astral plane is very widespread. You can identify much more. So even it is said about the avatars that once they are in the heaven, when their term is finished, they come directly into the hell. There is no way out. And after living into the hell, they are again given the chance to come back into the world. So this is a process which goes on there. This is the mystery of life. Those people who are affected with it, they will never get the chance to come back above. They have to transcend all the barriers. And whereas I told you, where the world philosophy and there the religion start. The Christ teaching, master teaching from above that plane. You need not to descend below. You have to rise above. And now the very sweet and lovable teaching of the Christ, I will try to express a little bit about it. Then when is the next time?
Saturday.
Huh? Then in the next satsang, we will totally take up the subject which concerns us, and by knowing which we can help ourselves, we can help the humanity for the right understanding, and we have that experience. When Sant Kirpal Singh came in the West, he said about this teaching, and he was told, can you give that very experience which Christ used to give? He said, yes, sit and see. What he did, he used to open the third eye. That is concealed within. We are imprisoned in the body. You know, there are many apertures, many holes in the body. Eyes, ears, nostril, mouth and touch below. And we are the indweller of the body. The one who lives in the body cannot run away from it. So how to get rid of this prison? That is the subject of the Christ power. We have to get rid of this body before we leave it. So this is why he said, you have to leave it. Those who leave it, this body, before the death, they get the life. And those who try to keep it, remain in touch, they will lose the life. It is said that once a man in the temple praying to the God, oh God, you blessed me. One of his friend who knew that last night his horse was stolen away by the thief, he said, what prayer you are making before the God? Since God has not done good thing for you, your horse is stolen away. He said, no, my God has done very good thing for me. He has blessed me, and like this he should bless all. He said, how? He said, last night he was not riding on the horse. Otherwise, the thief could also steal away him along with the horse. So he was a wise person, I tell you. He left the horse and saved the rider. This is the horse and we are the rider in the body. One time will come, we will be stolen away along with the horse. We have to separate the rider from the horse. So this teaching is very beautiful. A part of it we will discuss today, and rest we will discuss in the next satsang. In this body, mind has assumed the astral form. This is the astral form of the mind that is working there. So, how it assumed the astral? Master tells us, mind in the body is the mind-ridden soul. Soul in the body is mind-ridden soul. Mind is riding on the soul and is getting all help whenever and wherever it needs. So it has assumed the astral form. Since the soul is sleeping at the level of senses, it has gone into a slumber. So there the teaching of the Christ tells. He says, you must rise above the plane of senses and the shackles of the mind. And what will happen? Your third eye must be opened. Here is the third eye. When you transcend above the body consciousness, this you cannot do yourself. Who can do that? A borrowed servant of that God power can help. He who works for the God power, he cannot be a master, I tell you. He would never claim himself that he is the master. God is only the doer, and he who works for him, you can take him as a child. All competent masters, Guru Nanak, Kabir, all competent masters said, God is the doer. Word is the master. Shabda is the master. Kalame Kadim is the master. The music of the sphere that has manifested the whole creation, that is comes from the God power, that is the master. So he who gives that very contact, you may call him your brother, like anything. But contact is a must. You need some person who can transcend you above the intellect, mind, and cross you above that. But you cannot cross. Why? You may fall sick, you may be operated upon, but you cannot leave the body because you have not learned. Since fear of death is due to two facts. One, we have not learned how to leave the body. The second is, we do not know where to go after leaving the body. These are the two facts. If we know those two facts practically, then where is the fear of death? This is why Christ said, learn to die so that you may begin to live. The first beautiful teaching of the Christ. That is to be dealt, that we must rise above the plane of senses so that our third eye is opened. And how this third eye is opened? This is very important. This is very widespread subject and it needs more of your attention. But I must tell something today because time is going up now. Now we are the indweller of over here. Here is the sky. Now here is the third eye. From here we are withdrawn outside. There are the five senses, or you may the five doors which are opening outside. And these two eyes, nose, mouth, ears and touch below. These are the five senses. Our soul is spreading outside. These are the five doors. Now, when they open inside, this is the inward expression of the soul. The first one is the outward expression of the soul. When these doors open outside, when these open inside, that is called the inward expression of the soul. As for example, you are sitting, I said, well brother, have you seen this man who just passed by you? You say, no, I have not seen. You would say that my attention was not there. Your eyes were open, but you could not see. Why? Because these senses only locate something when this conscious works behind it. But when it is withdrawn from the senses, our eyes, ears, and all those sense organs, they do not react. The great scientist Newton, while he was solving his problem, he could not hear the drum beating. They passed by him because his attention was not with the ears. So Christ says, there are the 10 doors of this temple. 5 are opening outside, 5 are opening inside. Christ said, if you shut the 10 doors of this temple, you can see the heavenly light. So we need the bread of life and water of life. You take the bread of life, you will never feel hungry. Once you take the water of life, your thirst will be quenched forever. How to get it? It is a subject which is dealt with, which will be dealt in the next satsang. But you must know the competency of the master. There is no end to his competency. There is no end to the teaching and there is no end to the learning. Our whole life is devoted for that purpose. In Bible it is said, it is thy turn to meet God. Everything else in the world is a side issue. Here I tell you, here is nothing about any religion. Here is nothing about any ism or sect. You remain in your religion, but you must be true Christian. You must take the cross. You must die daily. To take the cross means you must leave the body and take the cross here. So that it is the same experience which happens at the time of death. That is also written in the Bible. So once you are reborn, you will never come back. That is baptism, a real baptism. So thank you all. Wishing you all that is good for you. I tell you, please, there should be no clapping. I tell you why. This is a teaching which has direct and independent contact. You go with your master. Who is your master? The Christ power, God power in you. That is the master. Thank him and not me. This teaching is due to him alone, or not due to anybody. This is not a new philosophy. Man is older than all the philosophies of the world. Either the awakened soul created for us or the man created. So this very teaching that concerns you from the heart, you go into the sanctuary of your heart and try to live with this teaching. Since you know what is good and what is bad for you, you live up to it. You know what Master does. What is there in the right teaching? He will make you to forget the world for a while. And the food will be given direct to the soul, I tell you. When this food is given, you should make the best use of this food. Take your master that is within you and be in his sweet remembrance till we meet again. This is our common subject. I am also among you. There is no high, there is no low. At least we should follow the teaching of the Christ, Master power, God power. Why we should follow others? Our cause is one. So thank you once again.